Prey is yet another entry into the DC Cinematic Universe, aka the DCEU. This film was directed by Kathy Yan and produced by Margot Robbie. Is it Margot Robbie or Margot Robbie? See, I feel like I do this thing with her and Gal Gadot, which I know it's Gal Gadot, but I always say Gal Gadot. I think I pronounce Margot Robbie's name the same way, and I feel like this is a me problem. I feel like I'm the only person that does this. Whatever, it's too late. I'm not going back. I'm not changing it. I'm set in my ways. You can't stop me. I'm sorry. It's just Margot Robbie. That's just the way it's going to be from now on. The point is, this movie is not only produced by Margot Robbie, but it also stars Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, Journey Smollett-Bell as Black Canary, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, Ella J. Basco, I think is her name, as a young Cassandra Cain. You got Ewan McGregor as the villain of the movie, Black Mask. This movie takes place a little bit after Suicide Squad. The Joker and Harley, you guys know the Joker and Harley are a thing, are usually a thing at least. In this movie, the Joker and Harley have broken up. I guess a more appropriate description is that the Joker has dumped Harley, and so the protection that she usually is afforded for being with the Joker is no longer there. As a result, there are a lot of enemies and people that she's pissed off around Gotham who now want her dead. Namely from a vicious crime lord named Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. Black Mask is after her. She also runs into other women throughout Gotham who are also one way or the other connected through this plot involving this small girl who is also a target of Black Mask. To protect this girl and save their skins, Harley Quinn has to team up with these women who would eventually become the Birds of Prey, and they have to take down Roman Sionis, and they have to save the little girl, and that's the story. I love the Birds of Prey, guys. Full disclosure. I'm a big fan. I've read the comics. The Birds of Prey is my shit. It feels so weird that Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, aka Babs, is not here, but I know that they couldn't use her for this movie because they're preparing a solo movie for her. I was really excited to finally see the Birds of Prey in live action on the big screen for the first time. In full disclosure for anybody else who doesn't know, the Black Canary is one of my favorite superheroes ever. Love her in the comics, love her in the old Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoons. Starting off the positives of this movie with Black Canary, played by Journey Smollett-Bell, I gotta say I was excited to see her in the role because I'm a big fan of Journey too. And I was also kind of cautious. I was kind of nervous because I was like, I'm anxious to see how they're gonna pull off Black Canary on the big screen in live action. I want them to do it right. I want them to at least respect the character. Journey kicked so much ass as Black Canary. I loved her in this movie. I can't wait to see more of her. Like, that's the impression she left on me. You only get really a glimpse into Journey as Black Canary. Same thing with the other characters. You get a glimpse, you get a hint, you get some badass scenes of them together kicking ass and stuff, but as far as actual character, you don't get as much. But for the glimpses and the teases into these characters, I feel like they did a good job, the actresses and the writers. This is the setup. This is the beginning of these characters, and you can definitely see an organic way that all these characters are going to eventually become more like the characters they are in the source material. Canary cry, oh my god, I nearly cried myself in the theater when I saw it. It's just, it's beautiful. It's orgasmic. These other characters in the limited time that they got did a great job as well. I feel like I should address that. This is a Birds of Prey movie only in name. Like the title of the movie says Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn or something. This movie actually should be called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, or Harley Quinn's Emancipation and the Birds of Prey, because really this is a movie that's told from the perspective of Harley. Gotta say, Margot Robbie, whatever the hell her name, however the hell you say her name, she absolutely crushes it as Harley Quinn in this movie. She's great. She's amazing. You get inside her head literally and figuratively, and this adds kind of a refreshing take to the story because it's a conventional story that's told from the perspective of Harley Quinn. And we all know that Harley Quinn is not the most reliable narrator. Why? Because she's freaking nuts, okay? You combine all that chaos, you combine all that crazy with also the intelligence and the emotional vulnerability that Harley is feeling in this movie, and you add the Birds of Prey to it to supplement the plot here, and I think that you've got something that's really fun, really accessible, and I think really entertaining for the most part. It feels like the pages of a Harley Quinn comic come to life. That's the best thing I can say for anybody out there that's a big Harley Quinn fan. The thing that stands out about this movie is the fight choreography. This is some of the best hand-to-hand fight choreography and stunt work in the DCEU, bar none. There's maybe like one scene where I feel like, that didn't look that convincing. They could have touched that up a little bit. They could have hounded it a little bit better. But for the most part, if you're looking for like white knuckle visceral thrills in terms of girls kicking ass, hand-to-hand fight scenes, like this movie has that. It has it in spades. Soundtrack and the musical score, they slap, of course. Great song choice. The music makes you either want to kick somebody's ass or it just makes you want to stop what you're doing and just bop your head and sing and dance to it. Another thing I do want to single out is Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. This dude is such a bastard. He is sick, he is depraved, he is sadistic, he's a maniacal twat. He's a son of a bitch, he's a piece of shit in every sense of the word. In other words, he's a really good Black Mask. I think that Ewan McGregor brought a lot of great energy and passion to the role. The style and aesthetic of this movie definitely feels like a spiritual successor to Suicide Squad Squad, so it has that going for it. And if you like Suicide Squad, if you like the colors and the vibrancy of that movie, the soundtrack, everything that went into making that movie what it is, you'll appreciate the camera work, the cinematography, the music, and the style of this movie. Unfortunately, even though I liked this movie and I enjoyed it to a certain degree, and I would recommend it, and I definitely would go see it again, I was disappointed. I walked out of this movie feeling underwhelmed. Like, I liked the movie, but I didn't love it. It didn't grab me the way that I wanted it to. There's just something about seeing these characters in live action and getting hints and glimpses and teases into these characters that is kind of frustrating that the movie only does the bare minimum with them. The bare minimum in terms of characterization for them. Like, you don't really get to see them fleshed out. You don't really get to spend as much time with them as you want. The story itself is kind of bare bones. Like, it's basically surface level. If you're looking for something that's more interesting or intriguing or whatever, it's not really that kind of story. It's your basic MacGuffin. Like, everybody's after this MacGuffin. MacGuffin, McMuffin, whatever you want to call it, the story is not really that captivating. Unfortunately, this is one of those plot-based movies that puts a priority on plot over character, and it's just frustrating, even though I know that this is kind of setting up for the Birds of Prey and spin-offs and sequels and stuff like that. That's the frustrating thing, is that this movie feels like it's a setup movie for a real Birds of Prey movie. Same thing applies to the villains in this movie. Black Mask and Zsasz are definitely sick, they're nasty, and you don't like them, and it feels like we could have gotten a little bit more with their characters. I didn't like some of the decisions that were made there. The pacing of the movie is a little bit helter-skelter in the beginning of the movie because Harley Quinn, again, is kind of going back and forth with her storytelling. If you like Guy Ritchie and the way that he tells his stories, you'll probably enjoy yourself. For me, the biggest problem I had with this movie is something that I knew I was going to have a problem with going into the movie. I tried, I gave it a shot. Nope, still walked out of this movie not liking what they did with Cassandra Cain. It's one of those things where I feel like they could have named her a completely different character and the movie wouldn't have changed that much. I get it, you have to leave yourself open to different interpretations, and this is a new vision. This does not feel like a character that is Cassandra Cain, and she feels like she's there so that the plot can move forward. Maybe in the future that'll change in a future movie. But I can't deal with the future, guys, okay? I'm not clairvoyant. I can't read that far ahead. I'm only looking at the movie here, and the movie here, yeah, no. But in the end, this was only a slightly above average movie that I can't say I loved. I'm gonna put this movie in the golden age for Man of Steel. Tell me, have you seen the movie? What did you think about it? Please leave me your comments in the comment section below and let's talk about it. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.